Good afternoon. I'm Fiona Wilson, UNH's Deputy Chief Sustainability Officer and the Director of our Sustainability Institute. I'm also a proud affiliate faculty member at UNH's Paul College of Business. Welcome to our December UNH Sustainability Alumni webinar. We're so pleased to partner with UNH Alumni Relations to bring you this alumni webinar series, because we know that we have hundreds of alumni from across the decades who are working in sustainability-related fields and who have deep expertise and valuable perspective on these topics. We also know that there are thousands more alumni who perhaps don't work in the field of sustainability, but who are really interested in this topic. So we really designed these webinars to allow you to hear from UNH alumni who are leading experts in sustainability across industries and sectors. This month, we're changing up a little bit from our normal format and have a very special edition. We're focusing on the pivotal role that innovators and entrepreneurs play in addressing some of the world's most complex and pressing problems, and the role that UNH students and alumni are playing in this movement. Today, we are embedding in our webinar a celebration of two of UNH's annual signature events, the New Hampshire Social Venture Innovation Challenge, as well as UNH's annual Social Innovator of the Year Award. These events really embody our mission as the state's flagship public university and as a land, sea, and space grant institution focused on the public good. Our Alumni Social Innovator of the Year will share her diverse perspectives on social entrepreneurships, lessons learned along the way, and ways that you can make a difference. And in the second half of this hour, we'll also be sharing the exciting announcements about the winners of this year's Social Venture Innovation Challenge, the final round of which took place yesterday on UNH's campus. It was an amazing day, so we're happy to be able to give you just a little taste of what are the energy and the ideas that were in the room yesterday. Locally, nationally, and globally, the last few years, and 2023 in particular, has shed even greater light on the urgency and complexity of major sustainability challenges facing our world. The climate crisis and all the related consequences, racial inequity and injustice, economic challenges, challenges to democracy and political instability and terrible wars with untold human suffering around the world. We understand that this news can feel overwhelming and even depressing. But as a university, we believe we have not only an opportunity, but an obligation to educate around these topics, to help our students and others understand the reality of our collective context, even when that is hard to hear. And at UNH, to do something more. We intentionally engage and support students around how they can be part of developing solutions to these challenges. We focus on supporting and inspiring what we refer to as change makers, those who are motivated to disrupt the underlying structural conditions and help contribute effective solutions here and around the world to advance a sustainable future. Today's students, part of Generation Z, are change makers by nature. And not surprisingly, they are demanding a new type of education, one that's more experiential and that aligns with their sustainability values and helps them build both skill and will to work on change. This is one of the reasons that we're so dedicated to the work of UNH's Changemaker Collaborative. The Changemaker Collaborative is a unique collaboration between the UNH Sustainability Institute, the Paul College of Business and Economics, and the Carsey School of Public Policy, and offers opportunities for students from all 5 of UNH's colleges. Each semester, we engage with over 400 students at UNH to help them build skill, courage, and confidence through real-world experiences. And as a public university committed to the public good, the Changemaker Collaborative is also focused on helping build a pipeline of passionate and capable, talented individuals and helping community partners, businesses, nonprofits, and government agencies across the region with capacity building to advance their own sustainability initiatives and ultimately the region's sustainability efforts. We know that having strong role models is vital to helping inspire future leaders. And so the Changemaker Collaborative has been hosting UNH's annual Social Innovator of the Year for over 10 years. This award recognizes leaders with a demonstrated commitment to combining the passion and purpose of a social or environmental mission with the rigor and accountability of a financially sustainable, scalable model for change. Over the years, we've honored some incredible leaders, and I want to give a special shout out and warm welcome to our past recipients, many of whom are with us today. It's very fitting that today we're honoring Dr. Paige Balcom. UNH class of 2016 with our 2023 Social Innovator of the Year award. Paige majored in mechanical engineering and graduated first in her class. While at UNH, she was president of Engineers Without Borders and led trips in the Global South for her fellow classmates. At UNH, she co-founded OASIS, which stands for Optimizing Aquaponics Systems to Improve Sustainability, the first international capstone project in the UNH Mechanical Engineering Department. They developed an aquaponics system using recycled materials to create a less expensive, more energy efficient design than traditional systems. And along with her classmates and collaborators, Sid Nigam, Will Taveras, Alison Wood, and Kendra Rodriguez, Paige was a 2015 winner of UNH's Social Venture Innovation Challenge. The team went on to win other prestigious competitions and present their ideas at international conferences. After graduation, Paige received a Fulbright grant to research the cultural, technical, and economic viability of aquaponics in Uganda, where she partnered with an NGO to build 2 aquaponics systems for their vocational school and taught farmers how to run the systems. While living with the students and staff at the school in a hut with no electricity in the village of Lakudu, she came to know and love the Ugandan people and their culture, and really understand at a deep level the daily challenges of village life. It inspired Paige to complete a PhD at the University of California Berkeley in mechanical engineering, with a focus on energy sciences and technology, and minoring in development engineering and design. While there, she was awarded a National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship, as well as many other awards at Berkeley. Throughout her path, Paige has been deeply passionate about using engineering, design, and social entrepreneurship to support development in sub-Saharan Africa. Today, she is the co-founder, co-CEO, and CTO of Takataka Plastics, and as you will learn, an incredible Ugandan social enterprise creating tangible impact at scale. Paige, we couldn't be more thrilled to honor you with UNH's Social Innovator of the Year award, and for your work past and present, and we know what you will continue to do in the future. You're an exemplary role model, and you embody our aspirations for all students at STEPS and UNH more broadly in terms of the impact they're able to have in the world. So Paige, I know we gave you your award in person yesterday. I know you have it with you where you are today, but again, huge congratulations. We're so happy to honor you with this award. And I'd love to hand over now to you to share our keynote.
Well, thank you so much, Fiona, and everyone at UNH for this award. I'm deeply honored and just so thankful for the opportunity, and just thank you to so many people that have helped me get to this point. The award's not just for me, but it's for so many others as well. Our whole team at Takataka, co-founder Peter, and just all the mentors and the professors and my family and everyone who's supported me along the way. So thank you to the whole village that brought me to this point. Really excited to be able to share about Takataka Plastics and what we do. And as Fiona has shared, we're a social enterprise in Uganda, locally recycling plastic waste. And our mission is to transform waste and empower communities for people, profits, and the planet. But before we dig too much into Takataka, I just wanted to share a little bit about how I got here. So yeah, it all started through UNH. When I started in mechanical engineering, I always wanted to use engineering for good, use engineering in a way to be able to improve the world and help people. So right when I got to campus, was really involved with Engineers Without Borders, and they already had a project going on in Lakoti in Uganda. So as a sophomore, I was really excited, got to travel and participate in the Clean Water Project. Also at UNH, got my first introduction to social entrepreneurship through SVIC, and was really grateful for the opportunity for me and my friends to be able to participate in that and Holloway competition. And so those experiences helped guide me in the forming the ideas around social entrepreneurship. And so through EWB was really loved spending time in Uganda, but knew that it was a short trip and not enough time to really get to know the people. So fellowships office at UNH helped me apply for a Fulbright grant, and was really grateful to be able to spend time living in Lakoti, building relationships with the girls and the farmers, and didn't want to leave. So when I got to grad school at Berkeley, I told my advisor that I didn't want to work on the project that I had originally signed up to do with him, that I wanted to keep doing research in Uganda. And thankfully he was flexible, and I started researching plastic waste and recycling in Uganda. So we actually ended up spending 2 to 3 years before even starting Takataka, just listening, just going to the community, talking to different organizations involved with plastic waste, and seeing what the gaps were, what were solutions that had been tried, but were not solving the problem. And this period of listening was really important to forming the whole foundation of Takataka. And so through that time of listening and doing research, found that the problem is really big. In Uganda, produces about 600 tons of plastic waste every day, and only 6% of it is collected. So most of the plastic waste gets burned, which of course is terrible for the environment, people's health, and realized that the biggest problem of the types of plastic waste are the water bottles and soda bottles made from PET plastic. There was actually no solution in Uganda that could locally recycle the PET bottles. So you can see here is just a pile. Here's just for context, that's a person. And you see piles and piles of plastic bottles. Another really big problem is unemployment. If you account for the realistic unemployment rate in Uganda could be as high as 64 to 70% if you account for underemployment. And in Gulu, where we work in northern Uganda, there was a civil war for about 30 years, so there's still a lot of after effects from that war. And in Gulu alone, about 600 youths, it's estimated, live on the street and have no job or home or place to go home to. So to help address some of these challenges, we formed Takataka Plastics. And so I met a lecturer at Gulu University. He was already doing a lot of stuff around waste management and recycling. And so I partnered with Peter, and we realized to be able to make real impacts, we had to move beyond just an academic research project or even a community project, and make a business, make a social enterprise. And our solution that we really wanted to focus on was creating a local solution for this plastic waste and unemployment crises. We wanted to create a circular economy, and we looked at construction materials because there were enough demands. Like Uganda's construction market is booming. There's so much development happening. There's enough demand for the products, and also enough, takes a lot of plastic. So it's able to address the scale of the problem. And so by creating a local product that can be sold locally, it not only helps the environment and health by solving this crisis of burning plastic, also creates local jobs and helps build that circular economy. So after a bunch of R&D, we settled on making tiles like these for washrooms, like for the bathrooms in the wall. And so we're actually the first company in Uganda to be able to fully locally recycle the PET bottles into a product. And tiles were actually not even our first product idea that we wanted to do, but through lots of research and talking to the community, talking to potential customers, we went through many iterations and eventually ended up on wall tiles as our target product. And we have a whole team of engineers that that I get to work with. And so we actually design and build a lot of the machines ourselves. And this makes them much cheaper than if we're to import equipment, and also makes it much easier to maintain, so that when parts break, as they always do with machines, it's much easier and cheaper for us to be able to repair them. And it also just builds the local capacity for design and machining and fabrication. We also do a lot of community outreach. So we have these plastic bins that we set up, about 50 locations across the city, and are training people in the importance of recycling, because most people still think that burning the waste is actually a responsible method of disposing of their waste. They don't realize the health or the environmental problems that come from burning the plastic. So we do a lot of outreaches in schools, and yeah, the kids get really excited when they get to come and see some of our machines, get to participate in the recycling process, and see the beautiful products that can be made from trash. Actually, people are really impressed with the products. They can't believe that the products are actually made in Gulu. They think that the products are imported from China or from elsewhere. When we tell them that, oh, the tiles, like these products, they're made in Gulu, people at first they can't believe it. They have to actually come physically to the manufacturing center to believe it with their own eyes. We also do partner with the city council and other local organizations to do community cleanups. And another big part of what we do at Takataka is trauma counseling and life skills development. About half of our staff are from vulnerable backgrounds, so didn't have the opportunity to, many of them didn't even finish primary school, and also didn't have a lot of mentors and parental influence as they were growing up. So we have a full-time trauma counselor on staff at Takataka, and every Friday afternoon we have an all-staff counseling session. We all get to come together and learn important life skills and how to deal with trauma, but also get to do a lot of interactions and discussions together, as helps build the team spirit as well. So since we started in January 2020, this is some of the impacts that Takataka we've been able to have. So since we started, we've had 65 full-time employees, plus an additional 200 youth in the community that we've trained to help with collecting the plastic. We work with many university and outreaches to primary school students. And in those few years, we've collected almost 90 tons of plastic waste and prevented it from entering the environment and being burned. And we've also, we started with social entrepreneurship competitions, and then have moved on to grants, and now sales. Been able to raise a good amount of funding to be able to support our work. And we're really excited for the future. So we recently purchased 8 acres of land and are preparing to set up a full manufacturing center, workshop, office. We even have dreams for a training institute to be able to push Takataka to even more than plastics. So Takataka means waste in Swahili. And so our dream is to even move beyond plastic into other types of waste, of finding solutions for electronic waste, organic waste, and even creating more products, and eventually to be able to set up Takataka in other cities across East Africa, because the problems are huge and far-reaching, and many people are asking us to scale and expand to other places. But a big part of what we also want to do is train more Ugandans and train more youth in social entrepreneurship, because as we all know, the world needs more social entrepreneurs. And social entrepreneurship, it's really just the right way to do things. When we are able to have businesses that can be good for people and for the planet, it just helps make the world into a better place that we all want to live in. And so being profitable, like businesses, businesses drive change in the world. And when the business can be profitable, the profits are not bad. Sometimes we think like, oh, we should only focus on the social aspects, but we need profits to be able to be sustainable and to be able to scale the impact to impact even more people. And through businesses, job creation is a huge way to impact people, to be able to give dignity to someone by offering them the opportunity to have a job and be able to provide for themselves and their family. Offering someone a job and giving them that dignity many times can be even more effective and more impactful than just giving aid or giving a handout. Of course, when our businesses can create cleaner environments, it's also much better for our people's health and get to experience clean air and just have healthier, better lives. So my hope for UNH would be that can help train students to be holistic, empathetic, critical thinkers, which was really exciting to be part of the SVIC competition yesterday. It was great to see these students that are really thinking about problems that are impacting the world and for many of them impacting their own personal lives or friends or family. And those are the skills that we really need. Like knowledge is so easily accessible now. We have ChatGPT, AI, YouTube lectures, where knowledge is so easily, you can learn anything that you want to learn, but learning the skills to think critically, to be able to solve complicated, interconnected problems, that's the skills that we need the next generation to have. And thinking about the unintended consequences of actions. So if we solve this problem in this way, how is that going to affect other things? We don't want to create more problems by solving one. So thinking about the holistic big picture in a way that considers all stakeholders and all people, and can do that through experiential interdisciplinary learning of not just staying in engineering or not just staying in business, but being able to interact with students from other colleges, other disciplines, and really being able to learn from each other, because the world's these complicated interconnected problems can't be solved by just one discipline, like one training. And so it's just great to see how sustainability is growing so much at UNH, and really hope that it could be cross-cutting across all disciplines, so that engineers and sociologists and business students can all be able to participate in learning about sustainability, so that UNH can help create change and bring train the next generation of social entrepreneurs to make impacts for people, profits, and the planet. So, Afoyomatek, as we say in Gulu, or thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Paige. That was an amazing keynote. Thanks so much for sharing with us some of the things that you're doing at Takataka and some of your hopes for the future. We've got some great questions coming into the Q&A that I would love to pose to you. So one question was about, so how did you navigate as a social entrepreneur during COVID? But also what lessons have you learned about being a social entrepreneur along the way?
Thanks so much for that question. So yeah, during COVID, we started Takataka just 3 months before COVID hit Uganda. So it really affected and changed our plans a lot. The lockdown was very, very strict in Uganda. So it's longer discussion, but the social impacts were very far reaching. Like schools were closed for a year and a half, and like people couldn't even drive their own vehicles. So transportation was very locked down. But at Takataka, we were able to actually pivot. So we hadn't when we first started, we were still doing R&D on the tiles. We hadn't yet figured out how to do the tiles. So we pivoted and saw there was a huge need for PPE. For the hospitals didn't even have face shields for the doctors and the nurses. And so we were hearing about this problem and realized that face shields are made from plastic, and that's what we do at Takataka. So we figured out a way to actually make face shields from, a part of it is from the plastic waste, and we were able to produce 20,000 and distribute them across Uganda.
That's incredible, Paige. I love that kind of nimbleness and that pivot. So in a general sense, there was a question in there about sort of what lessons have you learned along the way about, I mean, you talked about some of the things about the need for deep cultural understanding and being embedded in the community, learning and listening and iteration. But what are some of the other sort of big lessons you've learned along the way as a social entrepreneur?
Thanks so much. I wanted to share this slide, but had to cut it because the time was too short. So thank you for offering the opportunity to share more. So yeah, I would say some of the lessons that I have learned and would pass on to students especially is, number one, to boldly follow a direction, but don't stress about the actual details of where you're going, how you're going to get there. Like for me, I knew that I wanted to use engineering to help people and use engineering in a way that would make people's lives better. But when I first started, like actually struggled a lot with how could mechanical engineering create this change that I wanted to bring. But just kind of pursued opportunities and just followed whatever doors opened, and eventually found myself to finding a problem that I was really passionate about and wanted to use waste as a way to create jobs for people, and was able to use my engineering skills to help make that happen. So especially as a student, don't stress too much about exactly what you're going to do in the world. Just follow a general direction or interest, and eventually you'll find your place. Then another really big one is to listen. As I mentioned, we spent a couple years just listening to people before starting Takataka, really understanding the problem and the needs that people had, so that we could create a solution that would meet those needs. So it's all along the process. It's really important to listen, try make a prototype, go back, listen again, iterate, and we're still improving on our product designs, going back to the customers, hearing what they like, what they don't like, and improving on it based on the feedback that we get. Then asking for help. This was a really big one. When you find a problem that you're interested in solving, oftentimes it's something that you don't know everything about. So it's really helpful to go and talk to experts, talk to people who, and ask them questions, ask for their ideas. Like I never studied plastics, and now we're running a plastics recycling company. So all the time I go to experts in the plastics industry, even from business experts, sales experts, asking for advice. And especially as students, people are really willing to help give advice to young people. So don't feel like you have to put off this aura of you're the expert, that you know everything. Actually ask people to help guide you along the way. Then commitment is a big thing. It's really easy to start projects, but creating real change is hard, and it takes a long time and can only be achieved if you're willing to follow through and go through the hard times and fight through the challenges. So I would say before you start something, really think about what is your commitment, what is your time frame that you're willing to give to this problem that you want to solve. And even if you're going to be working with other organizations or other partners, like set the expectations up front about what you're willing to give. And that's just respectful to all partners involved. Then yeah, because takes a long time, so be patient. Don't expect that you have to achieve everything in the first year. Just be patient and go for the long haul, but make sure to celebrate the small wins along the way, because yeah, in the day-to-day you can feel like, oh, you're just caught up with fixing lots of small problems, but it's important to celebrate the small wins along the way, and then when you look back after several months and you see how far you've come. And of course, investing in growing yourself, and also a community that really supports you in sharpening the thinking about what you're interested in. So having a community that supports you when things are hard, but also you can like in a space be able to just reflect on things that you're thinking about, you're reading about, challenges that you're wrestling with. Having a community to discuss those ideas with and learn from each other is really helpful. And invest in growing yourself too. Like, it's easy to get caught up with the work of, oh, there's these big problems, I need to do this today, and need to accomplish these tasks. But the more that you invest in developing and growing yourself, your skills, that's going to trickle down to your team and the people that you're working with, and the problems that you're trying to solve. As you develop yourself, it'll make your work that much easier and that much better.
That's great advice, Paige. Thanks for sharing that. We've got a bunch of questions in here. So there's a message here from Brad Kinsey, Dr. Kinsey, who's the Associate Dean for Research at the College of Engineering and Physical Science. He says, we're all so proud and impressed by your accomplishments in UNH Mechanical Engineering, and not surprisingly, he has a very engineering question. Can you say more about the bathroom tiles and why they were selected, and how is the color achieved in the parts produced? So maybe a kind of a quick answer on that, and then we'll get to some other questions as well.
Thanks, Professor Kinsey. It's great to hear from you. So yeah, the tiles, we make them from injection molding, and we do use a pigment for these ones, but then we have other products where we just use the colors from the plastic waste, just the natural colors. And the reason we chose the tiles was a combination of the technical and the market. So for the technical aspect was easier for an indoor application rather than an outdoor product. Didn't have to deal with weathering and things like that. So technically it was easier. And then there was just a market for wall tiles, and helped make, because it uses a fair amount of plastic waste, helped address the magnitude of the problem. And there's just demand for as many tiles as that we can make, that we can produce. There's a market for them.
That's great. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. There's a question here from Jason Plant, who's another recent UNH grad, social entrepreneur himself, also prior winner of the Social Venture Generation Challenge. Jason's question is, what do you believe hold back the emergence of more social entrepreneurs? What are the barriers you faced as a social entrepreneur that you'd like to see broken down?
Barriers for social entrepreneurs. It can depend a lot on the context. One part is, I think, funding, especially like in Uganda, it was hard at first to get funding to get started. And then also regulations and policies. Like, one big challenge for us right now is So we have this product, we have the Taka tiles, but it's difficult to get certification from the Bureau of Standards. Like all products to be that are supposed to be sold are supposed to get certified. They pass certain tests, and then it helps the customers to trust the quality of the product. But because we're made from recycled plastic, and that's not been done before, there's no wall tiles made from recycled plastic in Uganda. There's no certifications. So we have to actually work with the standards board to be able to first develop the standards, what tests need to be done, and then go through the whole process of testing them before we can get that certification. So policies are a big part of it, even taxes. Like right now, because we operate as a social enterprise, we operate as a business for social good, for impacts in the community, but we're still taxed the same as if we're a for-profit business. So that makes the financial sustainability aspect that much harder.
Yeah, no, that's great. Paige, this has been fantastic. Thanks for such an inspiring and enlightening talk today. I know the finalists of yesterday's Social Innovation Challenge, as well as many of the alumni and others who are on the webinar today, really appreciated hearing your journey, and happy that they could celebrate this with you. So congrats again. I know we'll be in touch and look forward to connecting you with current UNH students and keeping on this real path of using engineering as a force for good. But again, congratulations. We're all so proud of you.
Thanks so much.
Well, we're now going to transition into the second part of today's event, the announcement of the winners of the 11th Annual Social Venture Innovation Challenge. The SVIC, as we like to call it, is one of the ways that we really help students like Paige, who perhaps are studying engineering or anthropology or nursing, to really understand how they can become social entrepreneurs. It's about engaging, supporting, and giving a platform to college students like Paige, who are really interested in being part of the movement of change makers. It's really a wonderful example, I think, of what we know as experiential or high impact learning, where UNH encourages and guides students to implement what our classes, what our professors and our classes have taught them, but then really offering them an opportunity to work alongside community members in helping unravel and design effective solutions to really significant sustainability challenges. Yesterday, 10 finalist teams presented to our panel of 10 final round judges on UNH's campus. And we hope that those who joined us were as inspired and as impressed as we were by these incredible students. I want to make a couple of quick thank yous. We couldn't offer experiences like the SVIC without the support of many organizations. We started the SVIC back in 2013 in partnership with and in honor of Nobel Peace Prize winner and father of the microfinance movement, Dr. Muhammad Yunus. He was our inaugural keynote speaker and was the inspiration for our Social Innovator of the Year award. And since then, the SVIC has become an annual signature event that really demonstrates, I think, the keen interest of students, but also community entrepreneurs and activists in helping address some of society's most pressing social and environmental challenges. Over the last 10 years of the SVIC, we've been able to give out over $200,000 in prize money, supporting change makers and their ideas. And we've had over 1,275 individuals submit entries representing 535 teams. We've also engaged over 1,000 community members as judges, mentors, advisors, and supporters. I don't know about you, but that kind of collective action, people coming together in support of public education and young leaders, gives me incredible hope for the future. A huge thank you to the UNH Center, the Entrepreneurship Center, for their support and collaboration. They are a pivotal partner to us. They really help advise, do one-on-one advising and mentoring with so many of the participating students. And thank you too to the many university departments who helped spread the word about the challenge, especially the 9 faculty from across the university who embedded the SVIC as a project into their curriculum this semester, giving students this great opportunity to apply knowledge from their classroom into these projects for change. Thank you as well to those of you who helped advise and guide and prepare our teams from the ideation phase to their final presentations. And a special shout out to our colleague and friend, Josh Sire, who's the interim director of UNH's East Centre, who has been an advisor to many of the teams. We had 48 preliminary round judges who helped narrow down the entries to just 10 teams a few weeks ago. Huge thanks to them. And then to, of course, our panel of 10 final round judges who had the unenviable task yesterday of selecting winners from among the finalists. All of our judges represent deep expertise in sustainability and social innovation. And I really encourage you to learn more about this extraordinary group comprised of UNH alumni and members of the community, entrepreneurs, investors, and innovators. Their bios are on our website. Lastly, we'd like to also recognize and thank the organizations that are the SVI supporters and really make this event possible. The SVIC is 100% donor funded, and all of the sponsorship goes directly to supporting student change makers. Our wonderful group of sponsors this year was CCA Global Partners, Citronics, New Hampshire Businesses for Social Responsibility, Prime Buckles, The Recycled Planet, UNH Marie's Prize for Innovation, and Unitil. In addition, 3 incredible companies also stepped up to be our 2023 lead sponsors, and to them we are exceptionally grateful. These are companies that exemplify the idea that business can be a force for good. We were honored to partner with them and thank them for their loyal support in 2023 and in prior years. Thank you to Kennebunk Savings, Impacts Asset Management, and Al Nova. To all of those whom I've just mentioned, faculty, partners, judges, mentors, coaches, sponsors, you're all such a vital part of making this event possible. We want you to know that you're not only a vital part in helping mold this generation of determined leaders, but in many cases, you're the ones who've helped young leaders find and build upon their true passions and paths in life. As in previous years, students who entered the SVIC come from a diverse set of majors and colleges across UNH, really proving that everyone can be a change maker. Yesterday, we heard from 10 finalist teams and wanted to say a huge congratulations to all of the contestants and the finalists. We're hopeful because you are not just a generation that care about problems, but a generation that takes action to generate innovative solutions. To help us share more about the exciting ideas generated by students for this year's competition and to announce the prizes, I'd like to invite Liz Torrance, who's VP and Social Responsibility Manager at Kennebunk Savings, as well as Kate Dumas, who is the chair of the 2023 SVIC judging process, to help present the awards. Kate is also, both Kate and Liz are also members of UNH's Sustainability Advisory Board. So Liz and Kate, thank you for all that you do to support sustainability and this kind of work at UNH, and welcome to the virtual stage. Liz, if you'd like to go first and just say a few words about being a judge and being a sponsor.
Yes, thank you, Fiona. So I'm part of a purpose-driven business that supported the SVIC since 2016 because we believe in investing in forward-thinking solutions and a more sustainable future. So in other words, all of you change makers. To the students, your passion and commitment, and in many cases, your lived experiences drive this work, and it really shines through. So I echo Fiona's thanks to everyone who makes this event possible. Thank you for bringing together this greater UNH community that we're all a part of here. And most of all, thank you and congratulations to every one of the students who participated.
Thank you, Liz. Kate, love to hear a few words from you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Fiona, and the Changemaker Collaborative and the University of New Hampshire for what is truly an inspiring and hopeful event. Huge congratulations to all of the participants and the finalists. You did make our job yesterday very hard in the best of all possible ways. And being involved with the SVIC is wonderful because it allows us to watch students realize the real power of their ideas, which is absolutely incredible. And then subsequently to see those kind of problems come out of cross-functional, cross-school ideas and different backgrounds And finally, really that concept that these ideas continue to grow through the process of the challenge, but as you saw today, oftentimes continue to grow beyond the challenge. And so kudos for this amazing event and such a great day.
Thanks, Kate. And Liz and Kate will be back in a couple of seconds to help share some of the awards. But before they do, it's my honor on behalf of the judges of the preliminary round to announce the best overall first-year student entry. This is a prize of $500. This is being given to the highest scoring first-year student team, as I said, based on the scores from the preliminary round. And we're actually going to start with a video here.
Hello everyone, my name is Timothy Yon and I've been building electric vehicles for 6 years. I built a hub drive bike for my first bike, a mid-drive bike for my second, and another hub drive bike for my current bike. My next project is my entry for the SVIC. My plan is to build an electric Velamobile. But before I tell you about that, let me explain why I'm building it. Over the years, I've discovered that I'd like to go really far on my electric bicycles. On more than one occasion, I've exceeded 100 miles in one go. But how does one turn an electric bike into a long-distance vehicle? You can add a ton of batteries, but that gets expensive. You could do what I did and add a generator and make it a hybrid. The generator is still really efficient and gets like 200 miles per gallon, but it also still uses gasoline, which isn't ideal. The generator makes sense because I don't go very far very often, and if I got a huge battery pack for my bike, I'd just be lugging it around most of the time. So the two main problems I face right now is weather protection and range. You can solve this problem with clothing, but most people don't want to ride in the rain, in cold weather, or both. So how do we fix this? Turns out that adding an enclosure fixes both the range problem and the weather protection problem. And this already is an existing solution. People in Europe have built what's called a Velamobile, and the Velamobile is a solution for these problems. It uses an aerodynamic shell, protecting the rider from rain and wind. Human-powered vehicle enthusiasts have gotten these up to highway speeds. But these are human-powered vehicle enthusiasts. An electric motor would be blasphemy. Personally, I'm not a purist. I made a gas-powered electric bike. So what would happen if we stuck an electric motor on one of these? Well, some people do. They use electric assist motors for their Velomobiles, which helps them go uphill. But if we put a big motor on one of these, we could do things that cars can do, like go on the highway. Let's compare the consumption of an e-bike and a Velomobile at 60 miles an hour. An e-bike uses 25 watt-hours per mile at around 25 miles an hour. A Velomobile at 60 miles an hour uses 30 watt-hours per mile. But an e-bike going 60 miles an hour uses over 100 watt-hours per mile. For comparison, a Tesla Model 3 uses 277 watt-hours per mile on the highway. And a gas car uses, well, yeah. This drastically reduced power consumption allows us to do some really cool things. For one, we can go over 400 miles using just 15 kilowatt hours of energy. With this relatively small battery pack, we can charge overnight from a standard outlet. No electric car with 400 miles of range can do this. With the right battery chemistry, you could theoretically charge up in under 10 minutes using existing supercharger technology. Imagine a world where your personal vehicle doesn't have to be complicated. Imagine a world where you could just plug your car into the wall. And imagine a world where you don't have to worry about how much it's going to cost to get somewhere. That's my dream. Thank you.
What a great video. And as you can see here, that winning entry is from Timothy Yon. He will be class of 2027. Again, he's a freshman, first-year student here at UNH. And following right in Paige's footsteps, he is a major in mechanical engineering. So very excited to congratulate you. Liz, over to you.
Great, thank you. So next we will announce the awards from the final round judges. These 5 awards reflect the 5 different elements of the rubric used in both rounds. They're designed to reflect the various elements of an effective social innovation. The first of these is for the team with the best articulated problem. In other words, the team that, in the opinion of the judges, best demonstrated an understanding of the underlying nature of the sustainability challenge and its root causes. So with a prize of $2,750, as you can see, the winning team is a Peely filter. an affordable lead filter for communities with low socioeconomic status using food waste materials to create it from restaurants. So congratulations to Ava Gardner, class of 25, Justice Studies and Sociology, Cole Capobianco, class of 25, Environmental Engineering, and Gibby Villa, class of 24, Civil Engineering.
Great. And the next prize is going to be for the most innovative solution. And as you're seeing on the screen, the prize for the most innovative solution, which is $2,750, is going to Charge On. Charge On is an electric car rental company that stores wholesale renewable energy in EV batteries when cars are not in use to supply the grid during peak demand. I'd like to congratulate Daisy Burns, the class of 2024, a dual major in economics and sustainability. Natalie Young, class of 2025, a dual major in equine science and sustainability. Windsor Golombeski, class of 2026, a dual major in sustainability and communication. And Eden Winter, the class of 2024, a co-major in marketing and sustainability. Congratulations.
Okay. For most impact potential, with a prize of $2,750, we're excited to share the video for this team first.
Glacial lakes are a vital source of fresh water in glaciated mountain regions, but also one of the most devastating disasters is associated with these lakes. Commonly known as glacial lake outburst floods or GLOFs, these floods originate when the dam of a glacial lake fails, resulting in release of huge volumes of water in a very brief period of time. The released water brings a lot of sediment with it due to erosion and results in extensive damages in the downstream, including loss of lives, destruction of agricultural lands, and damage to property and infrastructure. A study conducted in 2023 shows that globally 15 million people are exposed to the impacts of potential GLOFs. In recent decades, global warming has led to the faster melting of glaciers, resulting in the formation of new and expansion of existing glacial lakes. As a result, GLOF occurrence has also increased. There have been some devastating GLOFs in recent years, resulting in loss of lives and extensive damages. A study conducted in 2016 found that based on available records, thousands of people have lost their lives due to GLOFs, and several communities all around the world have faced catastrophic impacts. An important problem regarding GLOFs is their rapidity that does not allow the communities downstream to be prepared, which often results in extensive damages and often loss of lives. To address this problem, an early warning system is needed, and GLOF Watch can fill this gap. It is an application which integrates information obtained from satellite imagery and various social media platforms to provide early warnings regarding GLOFs. GLOF Watch will use satellite datasets to regularly monitor glacial lakes and identify potentially dangerous lakes based on their size and surroundings. Historical studies of GLOFs suggest that higher temperatures followed by consistent rainfall are the common conditions for GLOF occurrence. So weather data is another major input required by this application. However, most of the remote mountainous regions do not have extensive networks of weather stations. As an alternative, various social media platforms will be used to obtain weather data. Easy access to internet and smartphones has made it possible for common people to share their stories and experiences on social media, and they often update about weather conditions. These updates are quickly accessible to a larger audience and can be used as an alternative for weather stations. These datasets will be accessed, and by integrating them with satellite imagery, GLOF Watch will generate an alert whenever high temperatures followed by rainfall are noticed in the vicinity of a glacial lake. The alert will be sent to relevant authorities and the users so that timely measures are taken and GLOF impacts are minimized.
Absolutely, and thank you. So the judges awarded the most financially sustainable solution to single entry College Connector, which is a community-centered platform alleviating social, emotional, and financial issues associated with collegiate life. We would like to, it looks like it's pulled up on the side, there's Imran, but we would like to issue our congratulations to Brett Schultz, class of 2026 for College Connector. Brett is a dual major in business administration and sustainability. Congratulations. Liz, over to you.
Thank you. For most impressive presentation with a prize of $2,750, the winning team is HelpLink, a cutting-edge digital platform that fosters connections between victims and NGO workers, elevating the effectiveness and speed of humanitarian aid response. Congratulations to Darinya Saradiu, class of 26, biochemistry, molecular and cellular biology, Vicky Vagnarova, class of 26, mechanical engineering, and Niranya Chiarya, and Indhumadi, class of 26, neuroscience and behavior. Congratulations.
Thanks, Liz and Kate, so much for being part of the final judging panel yesterday and helping announce the judges' prizes today. This team helped, like I have to, I mean, with all of our finalists, you sit in the audience and you just look up there and you say, these people are going to change the world. It was a really empowering day. We have one final award to give out, and it's my pleasure to announce the overall Audience Choice Award. We had over 1,000 people vote using our online platform between November 22nd and December the 5th. And as you can see, the Audience Choice Awards with a prize of $1,000 goes to Team Charge On. As you heard earlier, an electric car rental company, and we're excited to share the video for this team with you to allow you to learn a little bit more.
Okay, hang on. I've got something failing here. I'm going to have to show the video in a different way. It'll take about 20 seconds to set up. All
right. Well, while you're doing that, Andy, I'm going to say huge congratulations to Daisy Burns, class of 24. She is a major in economics with a dual major in sustainability. Natalie Young, class of 25, majoring in equine science and also a sustainability dual major. Windsor Golubeski, class of 26, majoring in communication and a sustainability dual major. And Eden Winter, class of 24, majoring in marketing and also a sustainability dual major. Way to go, dual majors in sustainability. Love to see this fantastic team coming together. Hopefully Andy can now play us the video.
Welcome to Charge On, a visionary car-sharing company rooted in serving people while protecting the environment. What do you think of when you think of batteries? Batteries are an imperfect solution to buy us time as we shift away from fossil fuels. Batteries are currently created using modern slavery to source the precious minerals. The environmental effects of batteries, both in production and disposal, are also well documented. But here we see an opportunity, one that directly addresses 3 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. All around us, electric vehicles are parked, holding a powerful battery that is idle. Charge On seeks to maximize the capacity of all the batteries we currently have, while we wait for cleaner technology to mature. Through an innovative, all-electric car fleet, we utilize the unused vehicles to store renewably produced energy to feed back into the grid during peak energy demand, thus creating grid stability while serving people and meeting basic needs.
After piloting Charge On at Arizona State University, we will expand to multiple locations in Arizona and across the U.S. At scale, we will own our own solar farms and will sell energy to the grid. Excess energy will be stored by fleets of EVs used for car rentals.
We hope to position ourselves as a broad, low-cost provider to be able to reach the vast majority of people. Given these factors, we believe we will be able to break even in year 4 and begin earning a profit in year 5. As our sales revenue increases, we plan to grow and expand by targeting new cities and diversifying our inventory.
The future of EVs and car rentals is bright. There are lots of expected improvements to come, especially from car companies themselves. BBC News stated that we are in the middle of the biggest revolution in motoring since Henry Ford's first production line started turning back in 1913. The graph below shows just how big the growth of EVs has been since 2010, and it is projected to continue that growth. Along with electric vehicles, car rentals are also growing. As Forbes magazine wrote, experts say traditional car rental companies are just getting warmed up when it comes to technological car rental upgrades. Within the car companies, some major advancements coming up are BMW's plans to have half of their global sales be EVs by 2030, and Ford alone is investing $22 billion through 2025 towards EVs. While these advancements within car companies are amazing for EVs, the best improvements are the improvements to come with the batteries. One major company working on battery improvements is Redwood Materials, who recycles old batteries they get from car companies to make new ones, and they are continuing this with plans to improve their practice with a $1 billion investment. Along with recycling, batteries are also expected to become more innovative, with new materials being tested and better usage of the energy. Our company strives to work towards helping both people and the environment, and with the advancements in the auto industry as well as the growth of the car sharing and rental market, we can do just so.
Thank you for watching. Our emails are listed below. Feel free to reach out with any questions.
Congratulations again to the team who won that last award, the Audience Choice Award, to everyone who voted in that as well. Thank you to all of you who joined us today, including UNH alumni, as well as students, faculty, staff, and community friends and partners. Again, thank you to the UNH faculty and other partners, judges, mentors, coaches, and sponsors. You're all such a vital part of making this event possible. And congratulations to all the winning teams, every single student who put their ideas in this year's SVIC. If you missed yesterday's final round presentations, we encourage you to view the finalist teams' videos on our website. Today, we explored the pivotal role that innovators and entrepreneurs play in addressing some of the world's most complex and pressing problems. I hope you were inspired by what you learned and will find ways you can support and engage with the changemakers from UNH and beyond who are making our world more equitable and sustainable. There is so much work to be done to ensure a sustainable future for this planet and humanity, but I really hope we can all feel encouraged by the young UNH leaders that we've seen today who are taking concrete action towards creating momentous and sustainable change. I'd now like to hand over to my colleague, Alexis Dwyer, Alumni and Network Stewardship Coordinator at the UNH Sustainability Institute. Alexis.
Thank you so much, Fiona. I'm so delighted to have you all join us today. And of course, we would love to keep connected with you. You can see some different ways we've listed here on the slide to get involved. And if anything here piques your interest, such as hosting a UNH Sustainability Fellow, which happens during the summer to work on a high-impact sustainability project, or perhaps if you have an interest in coming back to speak to students on campus to share your experiences, or even via a webinar, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to meet with you to discuss how we can partner together. And of course, we would love for you to attend our other UNHSI events. So definitely sign up for our newsletter and join our LinkedIn group, which is called UNH Sustainability Alumni, and that is specifically for UNH alumni. So you'll search for that group, request to join, and then we'll approve. And then, as mentioned, we hope you'll join us for our next session in the alumni webinar series, which will be on January 24th, 2024, where the topic will be unveiling the current state of waste and recycling. And then on March 26th for our topic on reducing toxics. So we really look forward to those next ones, having you join us. But again, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you to all of our incredible panelists, speakers, sponsors, attendees, and SVIC finalists. We look forward to having you join us again in January. Bye.
Thanks, Alexis. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.